And we're live.
Okay.
Let me just put that link in the chat so people will find it.
Yep.
Well, this only seems to happen to D2. It's not our fault.
Well, I guess we'll just get us underway then. So, to those of you watching, sorry about that. We had some issues, shall we say? Neither of us have the LOA account, so and we weren't aware of that. So, that's why we're a bit late, and that's why we're on Robert's channel. But we'll go on with it anyway. So, we've got a pretty decent crowd, 18 drivers here in Canada for this lap of the Montreal circuit. Really well interesting circuit. It's got one medium speed chicanes, which is gonna could throw off some drivers. A lot of tricky curbs that you have to try and manage, and quite a short lap as well. So we should be seeing some close results in this qualifying session. So yeah, we're about 4 minutes into the session right now, but let's see how these guys get on.
As people start coming on to the stream right now. So basically, you just said that, you know, to me. Um, but yeah, I guess we'll talk a bit more about this just later in the qualifying session. So we have
Yeah,
Shape in first place. I think he's a new driver. I don't think it's a name
I,
change.
I believe he's new. I know him from a couple of other leagues. He's a pretty fast driver, so we could be seeing him fighting decently high up. Now, it is going to be a bit confusing for us because there has been quite a few name changes, so hopefully we don't get confused too much. We're just going to have to watch out for that. But yeah, currently Shape on provisional pole is on an 8.6, not a bad lap. He is on the Hypersofts though. It is quite difficult to do a one stop on the Hypersofts. If the race is dry, which it might not be. We could be seeing rain in the race, which could throw off the strategies in qualifying. But in the dry, the strategy I'd recommend is going from ultra softs to super softs. But we'll see what happens here. These guys can go any way they like, so it'll be interesting to see what goes on.
Well, fun you're talking about rain. J. Cole has just put in the chat that it will rain in qualifying uh, and at the beginning of the race.
Ooh.
So this will be interesting. Starting the race in light rain. We'll see what that means, because if they will not put on the intermediates, I think the guys on the hypersofts will have a quite a hard task.
Yeah, indeed. But we've got lap from Breeze. He's gone in on the ultra soft tyres. Pretty good lap actually. Uh, just 6/10 off pole and 9.3. So he only gets one set of ultra soft tyres. So I believe he'll go into the hypers and just try and go do a quicker lap on those. But if these guys want to qualify on the Hypersoft, so we could be seeing pole times in the high 7s or low 8s, I expect, out of these guys, which would actually put them pretty high up the D1 grid, I might point out. But yeah, it really depends on the strategy. But because it's light rain at the beginning of the race, I think we'll be seeing a lot of guys sticking on those Hypersofts at the end of the session and doing the fastest laps they can.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Looking at Caesar, he's somebody that we're always gonna have to keep an eye on, because we know he's quick, and I think he will be really quick around Canada as well. He's one of the guys that I'm actually gonna go that as my prediction for pole. We have a lot
Okay.
of people here today, 18 drivers, which is really nice to see for Division 2. We don't really get this often. We have two guys coming from Division 3 as well. We have Jabbo and Bag of Bones. Let's just talk about the name changes a bit, since there are a few of them that we know for sure. So Old School has renamed himself. He is now LOE Mark. That is a really boring name, as I said it on the podcast as well. Bree sort of changed his name to OMG Bree is here, which just fun. And then we have who we do have?
Yes.
Wave. We have Wave changing his name to Ton Albanak. I'd assume that's his name.
Maybe I don't know. But
Uh,
yeah, he's
we have the worst name change, as we've stated on the podcast. Tin Can is now Ben JS 1244.
disgusting.
Let me just see.
Yeah.
I mean, Caesar has added
He
an
has changed,
adjective
yeah.
to his name, yeah?
Yeah. I think another disappointing one from he is the man that's just gone fastest. J. Cole has replaced the 98 at the end of his name with 2 dashes. It's I don't know. I don't understand that at all. But yeah, there's been quite a few. Oh, there's Adventures Machin.
Bit of
Got
disconnection problems.
must be
Hopefully he'll be back.
disconnected. His AI car is actually just coming out the pits. Hopefully he is able to get back in. Yeah, a lot of name changes, but some of them better than others, we'll say. But paying more attention to what's going on in front of our. Oh, I've just seen Sarja. He's binned it. Not sure where that was, but I did catch a little bit of it. He lost the wheel. I believe that's. Yeah, you can see it. I've just caught it. It's I don't know the corner names, but it's just going in the chicane before the hairpin. He's must have got oversteer off the first apex. Got out of control, and yeah, straight into the wall. Sterling West does a very impressive 8.3 on the hypers. That's a marker for the rest of the guys to shoot for, and yeah, an 8.3 impressive time, and that is going to take some beating.
Sterling was really eager to race this week, based on what he said on the chat. I don't think he was here last week. I mean, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, forgot about the break week. And so he will want to fight for a victory again here in Division 2. I'm on board with Shape, the newcomer in the Force India. He's just put on the Ultra Soft. A couple of mistakes in this lap. This isn't a perfect lap at all. We'll have to see where he comes out. Entering the hairpin right now. This hairpin always looks really slow to me.
Yeah, that's because it is really slow. But he's already done an 8.6. That's a pretty good lap on if he is able to replicate that on the ultras. That would be pretty impressive. But exiting the final corner is the Force India up into 7th gear, through to the line, and no, he doesn't manage to improve. Yeah, so he is going to have to go again. He's been bested by. Do we call him Ton Albach or do we call him Wave? I don't know, but he's gone just 3 thousandths quicker, and Mark has gone just 3 thousandths behind the Force India, so it's very tight in that area of the field.
I think Mark is actually on a lap right now. He's ending his lap, entering the pits.
I need to get it slowed down. Who else do we have? I'm looking for Caesar. He's currently on those Ultrasoft tyres. Opens up the TRS. Now, going down under the bridge. Hard on the brakes. Takes it in 4th gear. Pretty easy to lose the car through here, but Caesar able to keep it under control. Now, up towards the hairpin. There's a variety of lines that you can run here. You can hug it tight to the apex or get it rather late apex. So he goes pretty tight now. Opens up the throttle, short shifts to get the best stability he can. He's running a bit low on the RS, but he should just about get away with it. He's in overtake mode, so he's going all out. Now, preparing himself for the famed World Champions corner at the final chicane, and no, he is actually quite appealing. He was in high RS mode, but he decided to abort that lap anyway.
It's such a disappointing feeling, looking at such a great lap, and then it just ends with the driver entering the pit lane.
Yeah.
But yeah. Vagabones is on track. Don't think he's on a lap. He definitely isn't.
He's just done a lap that was an 8.9 on Ultras. That is pretty decent from the D3 All-Stars driver. Showing he can compete.
He is the winner of Division 3 in Canada, so
yeah.
He definitely has something to prove over here as well. Vastos improves, goes 6th fastest on the Hypersofts, 108.8. We have
Ooh, is it?
Kryptonite
Oh,
in the Mercedes. Yellow flag was
is
set
he a
to.
new driver? Is he a
Uh,
new driver? Is he name
I
change?
believe he is a new driver.
Okay.
I might have to
So
check that out, but I think he is. He's a newcomer to League of Europe.
okay.
He
Well, the
is
Mercedes
right
do
now
what
into
he is.
overtake mode. What can he do? Coming to corner number 13. Close to the wall of champions. Hard on the throttle. And goes second. It's a good lap. Sterling West is
That is a.
still on provisional pole. Nobody could dethrone him so far.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of drivers have decided to fit the Hypersoft tyres, so we could be seeing that time fall at the end of the session. It's going to be an help out to see how things go, how it goes down. But we've got a lot of drivers, I believe, that are on outlaps at the moment, so there's not much going on. I believe Adventures is just starting a lap. Army might be on a lap. Yeah, the two Ferraris seem to be running there, but overall, it's quite uneventful at the moment. We just have to wait for these guys to jump onto the final laps and see them try and reach the maximum potential and put down the best lap times. And maybe we can just watch it. Adventures have a bit of oversteer moment, but maybe we'll see that time from Sterling fall. But he has a good marker, and it's going to be tough to beat. But we're going to have to wait and see.
It is going to be tough to beat, but we still have guys like Tiggerby and YHYY and Caesar as well, who haven't quite set their fast laps yet. As Army is just finishing his lap, no ERS left, and he goes up to 9th.
Ferrari man and P9 Jabbo just came into the pits behind him. I'm looking for someone else that's on the lap. Is Sterling himself actually on the lap? He's just starting one. Shape also just starting one. Yeah, there's no one that's really on hot laps apart from the name is Zero in the Force India. He seems to be going into the middle sector just now. It looks like he's on a lap, so we'll see. Right on board with him, see what he can do.
Zero, as far as I'm concerned, is a new driver as well. I might be mistaken, since the name changes are kind of difficult for us to comprehend. If people could help us in the chat, then there you go. Getting a smooth exit out of the hairpin. Bit, yeah, there you go. He just gives up on his lap. Didn't really have enough ERS to set in a good enough time.
Tiggerby has put it into P2 and the Mercedes just ahead of his teammate. So he goes less than a tenth away from that time from Sterling West. You mentioned him as a guy that could potentially challenge that. He's shown that he does have very good pace around here. So he
Sterling
goes up
is just finishing his lap. Let's see what he can do. A bit sloppy exit out of turn 13, and he does not improve. Machin gets in between Sterling and Tiggerby. And Caesar, there you go.
There we go. Yeah. I think we were waiting for that one. Got a lot of times coming in now. It's pretty close. Near the top, it's actually the top 15 covered by about 8/10 of a second, so it's very close between these guys. We've got a lot of guys on their laps. Tiggerby looks to have backed off a little bit. I don't think he's not on a lap. So we're just looking for someone else, but Caesar puts it on pole. Is Sterling West going to be able to respond? See, he's going slowly, so he's not going to improve. So for the moment, Caesar looks in a pretty good position there, and the Williams to maybe take another pole position.
We have the Mercedes of Kryptonite on a lap. He did hit the wall a couple of times. Let's see if he can improve on his time. As I predicted before, I said that Caesar would be quick. I did expect him to get pole position. So hopefully I won't be wrong. We'll just have to wait and see. as time is running out and we're getting closer and closer to the start of this Canadian Grand Prix. Kryptonite, final corner.
Oh!
That was a bit of a heart attack for the Mercedes
Yeah.
driver. Who goes on pole position? There you go.
Oh, still some drivers.
That was
drivers
good.
on the lap. That's a great lap from Kryptonite. They're all going to be terrified from that car of Jekyll that's crashed. Oh, the excellent finish chicane. Tegami up to the line.
I think his lap was invalidated since he did slow down a bit. Bastos is the final one on track.
Bastos heading down towards turn 13 and 14. Is he gonna? Yeah, he's gonna port that one and go into the pits and up.
So Kryptonite has proved me wrong and gets pole position here at Canada. Wow.
Yeah, that is a surprise and really well done from him. And the field just so close. I mean, for everyone that actually got a hot lap in at the end of the session was in the 8s. That is pretty impressive, and it shows that this is such a competitive division. Everyone's so close in terms of pace, but it is indeed Kryptonite that is able to outs them all and takes pole position for the race.
So RJ has confirmed to us that Zero, Kryptonite and Shape are the 3 new drivers here.
Yeah.
And Kryptonite did admit that he was scared a lot by J. Cole's car, as expected. So Kryptonite on pole position, Caesar, Shape, Sterling West following him. Mackin, Tigaby, Bagabones, Bree, YHYY, and J. Cole rounding off the top 10. Then we have, I wanted to say Ben, I'm gonna say Tin Can, Wave, Mark, Bastos, Armitrix, Jabo, Sarja, and Zero, who will start off last. Wow. It's weird having to say all the names on such a great Division 2 lineup. 18 drivers.
Yeah, 18 very hungry and committed drivers, and as you can see from what you're seeing in front of you, it is going to be raining for today's race. That is going to throw a spanner in the works because these guys probably have done most of their practice, most of their running in the dry, so that can shape everything up. And it's going to come down to the drivers that were able to adapt to the conditions better than others. So I think we could see the qualifying order being shaken up quite a lot here. So that's going to be one to watch as we're just waiting for the drivers to ready up. But yeah, with that qualifying out of the way, who's your money on?
I honestly can't tell you right now. I'm gonna have to look at the first lap. My money would be on Caesar because I know that he's really consistent in terms of race pace. I'm actually gonna say that Caesar will fight for this win with Tigaby, who I know is a really great driver in the rain and especially at Canada, since I had the pleasure, the honor of racing with him in PRL a couple of seasons ago. So yeah, those are the 2 drivers that I'm gonna say will fight for the win at Canada.
Yeah, Tigaby will have to keep an eye on him and see how he's progressing in these conditions that he does like. But I was going to say there's quick drivers that are maybe out of position, but the field's so close, you can't really say anyone's out of position. I'd say everyone's pretty equal in terms of pace. But I think I'm going to say Caesar for this one. I think even though the newbies in this league, if you like, have really impressed, I just think that his experience and consistency, as you mentioned, I think that will be a really good asset in this race. So I think I'm backing him for the win 100%, especially because he's near the front. He isn't going to be caught up in any potential incidents that could happen just because it's wet.
Well, it just depends on the start, because in Division 3 you had a really quick lights out, I would say. So if that happens here again and people get caught, you know, not paying attention, then I think Caesar will have some trouble. But everybody is coming onto the grid, and the lights will go on right now. Let's get ready for the Canadian Grand Prix in Division 2. 5 red lights are coming on. And it's a great start by Kryptonite. A good start by Caesar as well. He will have the outside. Will he try a move into turn 2? He will, and Caesar is up into first place. A bit of contact between the Mercedes driver of Kryptonite and Shapes Force India. A lot of position changes here on the first lap.
Yeah, these guys going back and forth. Shape was involved in a bit of contact there with Kryptonite, as you mentioned. Actually, a bit of front wing debris flying off the Force India, so he's going to be vulnerable, especially to Tigabay, who looks up the inside, does the Mercedes, doesn't quite get it done. He's going to look for traction on the exit, as Mackin also challenging Sterling West just up the road, who's had a decent start. Now, Tigabay, is he going to have a look on the inside? No, he doesn't. Behind, wait, no, yeah, side by side, he gets through on the Force India. Now he's got Bones and Jekyll, the two McLaren boys, chasing him down up at the front. Though Caesar has managed to jump away. He's a second up already after the calamities, as Mackin does a good move on Sterling West, pushes the Red Bull driver down. It's been a good start from the Haas driver. He's going to look to challenge those guys ahead. At the moment, Caesar, a dream start for him in the Williams. He extends his gap 1.5 seconds ahead going through at the end of the first lap.
What a great start by Caesar. He made an amazing move into turn 2. Kryptonite a bit unlucky there, having to avoid the Force India. Mackin has a really good start up to third. There's nothing else happening. J. Cole and Bag of Bones just trading positions. YHYY is now right onto the back of the Division 3 driver. Let's see if YHYY will try to make a move. He will not. It's a sensible decision. He will have a better run just out of this corner. Vagabond seems to be struggling a bit in the rain.
Yeah, the McLaren man, maybe not quite in the rhythm of it just yet, and YH putting him under all sorts of pressure. He's considered one of the top drivers in this division, YHYY, so you'd be looking at him as one of the guys that could be moving up the ground, and he's right on the back of the McLaren, going down into there, but looks to the inside, but Bones late enough on the brakes, tries to hold it around the outside, but scrubs out wide. Now it's on the traction, McLaren gets a bit sideways. Look at the background, the whole field concertinaing, going through the hairpin, but YHYY has his nose ahead, and he's got the move done on McLaren, but is Bones going to try and fight it back? Up to the outside he goes. They're going to run parallel down into the final chicane, try not to come together. It's just about able to keep it clean. Bones runs wide, and YHYY picked up the position, and he's now got to have a look at J. Cole up ahead.
Tin Can is going to make a move on the McLaren. He thinks about it and does not want to risk it right here. He will have DRS. No, he won't actually. That was a silly thing to say. But yeah, looking at people who lost a lot of places, we have Bree, Shape, Bag of Bones. These guys have lost a lot of positions since the start. Mark is up into 12th, and Sarja has gone up 4 places. Let's see what Sarja will do as he is getting close to the Toro Rosso.
Sarja making a good climb up the field, up behind Mark. How is he going to play this? Is he going to look to the inside into the hairpin? Of course, he's not going to have DRS on the straight.
Bit of contact.
Oh, he hits him again for the exit. So Sarja getting very feisty with the Toro Rosso, as there's also a battle going on for P2 between Kryptonite, who appears to be struggling as well in the wet conditions, and he picks up a penalty for his troubles. That is going to really hamper his race, and he's going to have to work and try and pull away now. He's got to get into the groove, really. He's really struggling in this race. Sarja wasn't quite able to pull a move on Mark, and Mark himself might be having a look at Bray. Going round into turn 1, to the inside goes the Toro Rosso. Bray, though, late on the brakes, holds it running outside. Mark's a little bit exposed to Sargent behind, but the Williams isn't quite able to get through.
Bray just made a mistake at the exit of turn 14. That's how Mark was able to get closer to the Sauber driver. We've seen some people getting some penalties. Zero got a 5-second stop go penalty for speeding in the pit lane a few moments ago. We have Army and Jabo having their little fight. Army gets past Jabo again, goes up to 15. We have Mackin trying to make a move on Sterling. I think Mackin just got past Tigaby again. I think Tigaby might have made a mistake, if I'm not wrong. But here we go, Mackin up into third.
What move?
Ooh, and he makes a mistake.
Oh man, that was such a nice move around the outside of the chicane. Really difficult to pull that off, but now it's allowed Tigaby into this battle. He was a little bit further back, and it's Sterling.
Tigaby hits the back of the Haas.
Oh, has he got damage?
I don't think he has.
Oh, I've just seen, Mark, he's spun Bray going through turn 2. The Sauber driver just getting tagged and going round, and he goes to the back of the field because the field's still so close in this early stage. Two Toro Rossos now side by side, and Mark's just able to hold the place with Army now threatening behind. But these guys battling for P3 has allowed Kryptonite into a bit of clean air, but Caesar looking so rapid in these wet conditions, easing away from the rest of the field and looking at a bit of a class of his own at the moment as he rounds into the hairpin.
Caesar has a really good time up there in front. I don't think he's really trying anything right now, and he doesn't need to, since Kryptonite will have the company of Sterling pretty soon. He is not quite there yet. He won't be able to make a move in the next lap, but he is catching up to the Mercedes driver. We're seeing Mackin getting some really questionable exits out of the final corner. Tigaby cannot quite get past him yet. As Bag of Bones and Tin Can, we have a battle to turn 2. Bag of Bones will be in front. Will he manage to stay?
He squeezes the Red Bull, but Tin Can trying to go right the outside. Great move, as he's made before. But now Sarja, who's been really moving forward in this race, down the inside of the McLaren, has been holding these guys up, but Bones cuts him off quite aggressively, but just about fairly. Now Sarja looks for the exit, tries to grab the traction as Jabo picks up a penalty. That's not going to help him for his troubles, and Sarja not quite close enough going through it under the bridge. But up front, Sterling is starting to reel in that second place Mercedes of Kryptonite, and he's dragging a massive pack with him as Sarja looks to the inside.
Getting past Bag of Bones.
Bag of Bones tries to hold it running outside, almost goes into the wall. He might have actually touched the wall, but eventually Sarja is able to get through. But these guys from battling, look at the gap from Tin Can up to that pack. They're actually fighting over P2 now. But yeah, he's now almost 6 seconds adrift of the next car. That just shows how much Bones was holding all those guys up. But now they're going to have to get moved.
Wide into turn 1.
Down the inside.
An easy overtake on Shape. What's going on between the front 4? Mackin gets a 3-second time penalty. I'm not sure if penalties will impact this race as they do in other races, because I think most of the drivers will pick up a penalty at some point.
Yeah, it's such a difficult track to avoid penalties. Me personally, I'm usually a guy that's good at avoiding any penalties, but I've picked up penalties in this race in D1. But Tigaby, you mentioned his wet pace. He has a look to the inside of Mackin, looks to devote the Haas driver yet another position and slides it through by the inside of the hairpin. That's been a popular overtaking spot for the drivers today, but he's in overtake mode as a Haas. I don't think he's done with yet. Tegabe's going to have to struggle to consolidate his position. He moves to the inside, going down into the final chicane. We've seen him go around the outside of the chicane before, but he's not far enough alongside the Mercedes. And Tegabe moves up.
Both of them get a touch of the Wall of Champions as Mackin gets a really good run into turn 1, and he will get in front of Tegabe. Will he stay there? I think he will. So Mackin is back into 4th.
Seeing a lot of these guys towards the front of the field, one guy makes a move and the other one gets him right back. It's a really good racing between these guys. Very clean as well. We've seen Zero go into the pits, but apart from that, we haven't really seen much contact, which is really well done from these guys. But it's Jaco who looks to be the man on the move, trying to hunt down Tegabe after he made that mistake, and now he's going to try and threaten the Mercedes. Is he going to have a look down the inside? No, it's too risky. Well, it hangs back, does the McLaren driver, but he's also moved up 4 positions, driving an impressive race, looking comfortable in these wet conditions as they dive it into turn 10. He goes for a late move down the inside. Tegabe tries to close the door on the McLaren now. Exit. Traction is going to be in favour of Tegabe. Sweeps around the outside and holds the place.
This will be frustrating for J. Cole. But will he try to make a move here? I think he won't. Tegabe is really good at defending. I have to give him that. She is one of the best drivers, one of the most aggressive drivers as well in Division 2. So it's not going to be easy for J. Cole to get past the Mercedes. This is
I know that from experience.
Yeah.
I know that from experience with racing Tegabe. He is very difficult driver to pass, but while we were covering that battle, Kryptonite made a mistake coming out of the final chicane and gave up that second place to Sterling West, who's managed to move his way up the grid after battles with Adventures Mackin. He's managed to free himself. He's over 5 seconds adrift of Caesar now, so hunting down the Williams driver is going to be very difficult, especially when Caesar just seems to be at 1 with the conditions at this stage. But it does look like the rain, I'm not sure if it's easing off slightly. It was when Jacob pointed out the weather in the chat, he did say that it was light rain for the start of the race. So this rain is going to ease off at some point, I reckon. So that's going to be interesting. Are these guys going to be able to stay on this set of intermediates to the end of the race, or are they going to have to pit? That is going to be one to watch. But it does seem like the conditions are evolving a little bit. It doesn't seem quite as wet. But yeah, we're gonna have to see what goes on as the conditions do seem to get faster as Caesar pumps in the fastest lap of the race with a 20.1.
This whole battle between Tegabe and J. Cole has just come as a real advantage to Mackin, who has now built up a decent gap to Tegabe and has been trying to get past Kryptonite for the better of the last 2 laps. Now, a bad exit from Mackin. He seems to try and push too hard, I would say. He doesn't need to take any unnecessary risks. He doesn't have to get past Kryptonite right now. He'll just have to play it safe for now, as he is losing time to Tegabe as well. Armitrix, another time penalty. We have to get used to mentioning those as well.
Yep. I think that Mackin, he seems to be pushing too hard, as he said. He's been getting a lot of oversteer moments coming off the corners, and yeah, in the wet, I think that's going to be costing him time. But nevertheless, he has looked pretty decently quick, and he's going to now threaten the Mercedes. And Kryptonite knows it, to the inside, going down into the final chicane. We've seen Mackin go around the outside here before. Has he done it again? Almost pushed the Mercedes into the wall. They have to slow to a crawl. And Tegabe's
up into 3rd.
And J. Cole's going to try and follow them through 4 cars in such close proximity. They're almost 3 wide going into turn 1, and then Kryptonite has to back off. He's still running it around the outside of J. Cole though. Tries to stick it side by side with the McLaren. They just touch wheels, and the McLaren might just about be able to get ahead. Kryptonite's going to have to give it up on the brakes. But yeah, Tegabe taking full advantage of those 2 going side by side through the chicane. He's still under pressure from Mackin, but yeah, what a move from Tegabe.
That was really unexpected from Tegabe. Just looking at how many position changes there were in that move alone, it's just astonishing. As J. Cole is really pushing Mackin, who's gonna have a say in that. Mackin lost a bit of his front wing. He got spun around
And
by J. Cole.
Unfortunate for the Haas driver, he gets going again. Now what's interesting here, Shape has actually, he's came into the pits early and has put on Ultrasofts, and I can say with confidence that was not the right call. He's losing time hand over fist. Even though the rain's easing off, it does seem like he did pull the plug a bit too early, and now he's really sliding around. But it is Tegami, he also goes into the pits comparatively early, I'd say. But we're gonna have to see if this pays off. He also puts on super soft tires, but to me it looks like the conditions still aren't quite ready for it. So these guys pitting in very early, and we'll see if that pays off or not.
They have to take risks. It's now or never, basically. If those risks pay off, then Tegami will have a strong chance at getting a win, because Caesar is not gonna lose any time on the intermediate tires. So they have to try and see whether the super softs will get him to close in on the leader of the race. Tin Can and Sarja, as we're just looking at them on track, will have a battle at some point. Yellow's in sector 1. Not sure what that was.
I think that was Bastos who just put on the super softs and clearly being caught out by that. But it doesn't look like either tyre is having a particularly great time. It stopped raining, but we saw YHYY have a bit of an off there and lost out to Jekyll. That probably explains why he has decided to dive into the pits on lap 12. For his sake, I think he should be out in front of Tegami, because the Mercedes driver has been losing time, but he's not. The slicks are definitely coming into their own a little bit, but I wouldn't say that they're quicker than the inters just yet. These guys are going to have to be patient, but YHYY exits the pits. Is he going to be out in front of Tegami? Tegami moves past. As the DRS gets enabled, that's usually a sign of the switchover point, or the crossover point I should say. YHYY is out ahead of the Mercedes, not by much, and he is going to have to warm up those super soft tyres, but Cyber Driver out in front, and I think we'll be seeing a lot of pit stops in the next few laps.
Tegami was really warming up his tires in the last lap, just swerving as in a formation lap, basically. And the other people going to the pits, not yet. As J. Cole gets a good exit out of the hairpin. He's right on the back of Kryptonite, and he could try and make a move. Oh, Kryptonite with the DRS.
And that just assists him in staying ahead of the McLaren. But yeah, everyone up front now diving into the pit lane. It's definitely that crossover point now. As we're going to be seeing, I think, pretty much every driver is going to go in as Mark
is just getting past Bag of Bones. Ooh.
Gets past. Oh, speeds into the pit lane though. That is going to be costly. But a mix of tyre strategies here. Kryptonite going fairly risky, I'd say, on the ultra soft tyres. I can't see him going to the end of the race. We're going to have to find out. But Caesar is out comfortably ahead. YHYY now into the podium places. So he has put himself into a really good place there, as we're going to be seeing a lot of fastest laps. Every driver now onto the slick tyres, and we'll see those times tumbling down as the track gets quicker and quicker. J. Cole on the back of Kryptonite as he was before the pit stops, but I think Kryptonite, he's gotten very aggressive with that choice of the ultra softs. He is going to have to be very kind to his tyres if he wants to take those to the end of the race, whereas I think all the super soft runners should just about be able to do it with no problem.
Mark picks up his second 3-second time penalty, as well as his stop-go penalty, so that's really unfortunate for him. Bag of Bones, another penalty as well. Mark was a guy that I was expecting to be right near to the top at Canada. He was expecting to get a podium here, so it's really unfortunate to see him running in 12th with a lot of penalties. So he'll probably struggle to get a single point out of this race.
I've been monitoring the gap between the leaders, and it has actually been coming down a little bit. Sterling, the gap was about 6.5 seconds, it's now about 4.5 seconds, so Sterling looking quick early on in the track conditions. Kryptonite pulls a move on Tegami, and now Jekyll's going to try and follow through on the Mercedes around the outside, and now Tegami gives him the squeeze, and now going wheel to wheel into the right-hander, and Jekyll, can he hold it right outside on the traction? He gets his nose ahead, but Tegami's not giving up easily as they arrive down into turn 8. Wheel to wheel, but a squeeze from the Mercedes pulls the place out of Jaco, but these two are going at it, and I don't think they're going to be done with it yet. The McLaren tucked in underneath, up to the outside, going into the hairpin. Tegami's forced him to go running outside, gives him a squeeze, and the McLaren almost into the wall, but just about able to avoid it now. Onto the DRS. Tegami doesn't have the DRS off of his teammate ahead. That's going to give Jaco a good run.
Pass.
Has to go around the outside. Is Tegami going to be late on the brakes? I think it's sensible to back out of that one, and he does. But that was some good racing between these guys. But Sterling, he just looks like the quickest man on track right now, hunting down the Williams ahead. So Caesar looked imperious in the wet conditions, but in the dry conditions, he doesn't seem to be on the pace right now.
I think what Caesar is doing is he's just trying to manage his tires and not really. He's not really focusing on getting the quickest laps he can. I think he's just holding something in for the end. He's not showing his real pace so far.
Well, we're gonna have to watch out.
Jekyll has been rather quick since he put on the super softs, and him being up into 5th, I think he'll be quite pleased with this, especially when Kryptonite will lose some grip due to his ultra soft tires. No real battle on track except for this one between Tegami and Jekyll.
Well, Jekyll, we actually did have the RS off of Kryptonite, but he didn't open it. Strangely enough, he's in the same thing again. He's not opening his DRS. Tegami is going to take full advantage of that, but he isn't going to be close enough to make a move. But these guys are closest on track right now. Caesar picks up a penalty. We're going to have to watch out for that. He does. I kind of agree with you looking at things. I think he is just controlling the race. We saw in qualifying he does have good pace. He was only just beaten to pole by Kryptonite, who's put himself on an awkward strategy himself, so I wouldn't see him as much of a threat to the Williams. But he runs around now, trying to fend off Jekyll and Tegami behind him. Those guys on the super soft tyres as are most of the field. It's a very good race tyre, I have to say.
Gets a penalty in that second chicane. The race just got a bit more. I wouldn't say boring. It's just not as action-packed as it was when it was raining. But hopefully we will have some sort of battle for the lead at some point, because the gap just does seem to get smaller and smaller. So I think Caesar will have to pick his pace up if he wants to win this race. I'm not sure if Sterling has any penalty so far.
It's a good thing that you've mentioned that, because I just checked, he doesn't. He does have 2 warnings though, but Caesar does have 1 penalty. So Sterling is actually in a really good shout at having a crack at this race win. He is going to have to push hard to close down and keep it on the track and avoid getting a penalty, of course. I'm just hoping I'm not commentating cursing as he goes through turns 8 and 9. As Jekyll is actually beginning to catch up to Kryptonite. Those Ultra Softs, they aren't as good of a race tyre as the Super Softs. It looks like they're not really losing time to YYY. In fact, it's Sterling that's really by far the quickest car on track at this point. I've seen him been putting in fast laps all the time, and as well as closing up to Caesar, he's also been pulling away from those cars behind him. But yeah, Jekyll now, he is opening his DRS, and he looked to try and get up towards that Mercedes with Kryptonite, but he gets a really poor exit coming up the final chicane. That's going to put Tegami up the inside going into turn 1. I don't think that the McLaren can fight it much, or does he? He holds it right the outside very nicely going to turn 1. That gives you the inside for 2. Gets the holds on to that 5th position, I should say, So Tegebe is going to have to try and go again, but not quite close enough for now. The McLaren smacks a wall, and if he gets too busy defending from Tegebe behind him, that can allow Kryptonite to just escape a little bit, but I don't think he has as much pace as the two cars behind him.
Tegebe hits the wall as well, so both of them running really aggressively out of the corners. Jekyll clips the grass there a bit. He is losing time to Kryptonite. The gap has come from about 6/10 to over a second now. And Tegebe will have DRS on this back straight. Will he try to make a move? I don't think he should, and he won't. Kryptonite gets a time penalty. Now, will any of them get an overtake in this lap, because they're closer than ever? And I think Tegebe will want to get past Jekyll as soon as possible. So maybe, hopefully, try and as he picks up a 3-second time penalty again. I was going to say that he might want to catch YHYY up at some point, but if he keeps going like this and gets some other penalties, then I don't think Tegebe will get a podium today.
The issue that he's got as well with chasing down Jekyll is that Jekyll's getting the DRS off of Kryptonite ahead, so that's just assisting that McLaren in staying in front. But Jekyll now has managed to close up that gap to Kryptonite during this lap. Is he going to be able to have a crack at Mercedes? He opens up the DRS. I don't know if he's close enough going into the final chicane, but maybe into turn 1. In fact, Kryptonite's a bit worried because he goes defensive to the inside. Is Jekyll going to make it round the outside? He's going to stick it side by side, has to cut the corner, gets a penalty, and now Tegebe, is he going to take advantage? He took advantage of two cars going side by side for the final chicane. Got 2 overtakes done on this occasion, on that last occasion. This time it's just 1
Tegebe
overtake.
just hits the back of Jekyll.
And Kryptonite takes advantage of that. Jekyll was, he's pulled it to the side because he, I believe Tegebe hit him off the circuit. It wasn't getting great camera angles. But I believe Tegebe just whacked Jekyll off the track, if I'm not mistaken, and Kryptonite after losing. Yeah. So now, despite all that, the order remains the same, but with Jekyll, after a very harsh penalty, a 5-second penalty, I believe, he's now going to be angry, as he chases down round the outside into turn 8. Has he done it? Yes, great move from the McLaren up into P4, but his penalties are going to cost him if he doesn't gap these guys, as the Kryptonite getting very defensive from Tegebe, and is a switch back there for the Mercedes on his teammate, but no, doesn't quite get it. Now Kryptonite, look at that McLaren in front, as Jekyll hard to the inside, is going to try and hold the place. Around the outside goes Kryptonite. He was under threat from the outside from Jekyll last time. Has he completed the move? He just about gets his nose ahead. A great move from Kryptonite out in front. Now Tegebe tries to take advantage of all this. Is Jekyll going to dive at the inside going to turn 1? No, he hangs back. But yeah, amazing racing, so close between these guys, and they're still in formation, but it's allowing Tin Can to close up the gap.
As Mark gets yet another 5-second stop-go penalty, and a 3-second time penalty on top of that, so I think he might be the winner of the most penalties at Canada award this week.
I believe I don't know about D3, but D1 had Harry, who I believe had I think he had 25 seconds of hit, something like that. He had a lot of penalties, let's just say. But Jekyll now wheel to wheel with Kryptonite. He's got the move done this time, and now Tin Can's going to possibly do Jekyll a favour and follow through, but no, Kryptonite, he's going to try and fight back. These guys swapping and changing and losing so much time as a result. Now, is Kryptonite going to be close enough for a dive? It's actually his teammate Tegebe who's going to be the man on the move. Looks to the inside, can't quite get through. Now Tin Can is on the back of these guys. Now Jekyll in front, and he's got DRS to defend. Kryptonite unable to make a move, and maybe we could be seeing Jekyll gapping these guys now, but he is up into P4. Caesar still out in front. Sterling West though now 2 seconds away, and I don't think he's picked up a penalty. I could be mistaken. So right now Sterling West in a really good position to potentially take the race win here.
One thing is certain, YHYY will keep his third place. Don't think anything will happen to him, as Wave has retired.
World Champions.
Yeah. World Champions has made a victim in this race. Armitrix retires as well.
What's going on here then? Is Army, is he crashed it going through turn 1, or is he also going off with the World Champions? I've just seen Mark. He went flying flat out into the pit lane. I don't know what's going on with him. Oh, he's now out. Okay,
That was weird.
Yeah, I think he just crashed out. He's had enough of this race. Luckily, he retired in the pit lane, so he wouldn't affect the race too much. But one thing that is affecting the race is Tegami moving through. Kryptonite got a really poor exit coming off the final chicane, and that was easy pickings for Tegami. He's now going to try and look at Jaco. Both of these guys have quite a lot of penalties, though. I believe. So yeah, I don't know how penalties are going to affect this, but they are going to change things for sure. These guys all having different levels of penalties. I've just seen Tin Can. He's had a massive Oversteer moment.
We have a VSC.
Oh, VSC. Oh. So.
Well, this is gonna help Sterling, I think. Actually, it won't. The gap has gone from, I think it was 1.5 seconds to almost 5 seconds now between the front two.
Oh, don't worry. It's because they're going slower. There's more of a distance to the checkpoints, so the gap will it should go down to what it was before, but it doesn't look like it will. It's actually extended slightly now, over 2.5 seconds. So that's clearly affected things. It's also affected in the way that Tegami has managed to. Well, he's out of the DRS range of Jekyll, and he's got a move from his teammate. Oh, it's Kryptonite outbreaks himself going into the final chicane. On pole puts it such a good lap in qualifying, and now finding himself dropping down the order now behind Tin Can, who I believe has moved up pretty far in the positions in this race. Yeah, he's up 5 places. He's putting a good shift there. But it's YHYY and Jekyll both gained 6 positions, so they've really starred in this race so far. But Sterling West under a bit more pressure now. 3 seconds of penalty advantage over Caesar, but that gap is already coming down actually. Sterling just looks so rapid in the dry, and really showing the kind of pace that he has in this race.
He'll have to be careful because he does have the two warnings. If he wants to catch up to Caesar, then he'll have to do it in a careful manner, because if he gets that 3-second time penalty, I think that's basically race over for him. It will be such a frustrating event that I don't think he could recover from that mentally.
Yeah, it's psychological, where when you pick up a penalty, especially at this late stage of the race, it can mess with you and you start driving a little bit over aggressively and you can make mistakes.
Exactly.
But Sterling does look like the fastest car again on track, because he is cutting into that lead again now under 2 seconds after the VSC opened it out slightly. Tin Can though, he's looked to be the man on the move here, moving up past Kryptonite and now having a little look at Tegami. Tegami has had probably quite a frustrating race, just being caught in these battles and unable to get away from them. I think he could have been fighting with YHYY if he had managed to stay out of them, but the same could be said for all of these guys, I guess. But it's Tin Can, or Ben, whatever you want to say, he now looks to try and chase down the Mercedes ahead, and the advantage that he has, he's got about 30% more ERS than Tegami, so he's going to be able to deploy that now. Opens the DRS. Is he going to be close enough into the final chicane? He's gaining on the Mercedes, and Tegami knows it to the inside, tries to hold off the Red Bull, but Tin Can not quite close enough. I hate commentating on these guys because they've got such similar names. And there's a great run off the final corner for Tin Can. He's going to look at running outside of turn 1. We've seen drivers go running outside of turn 1 again, and he tries to force his way through, pushes Tegami wide, and for once the defence of Tegami has been kind of put off there by Tin Can. Tries to look back at the inside but doesn't manage it. That was a really feisty move, Tin Can, but he is able to get ahead up into P5.
I think he would have been ahead of Tegami at the end Either way, I think Tin Can only has about 3 seconds, if I'm not mistaken, and Tiggy has at least 9, so he would have kept his position without making that move. But it was a good move up into 5th. I don't think he'll have enough time to catch up to J. Cole, or he will catch up to him. I don't think he'll have enough time to overtake him. Sterling, the gap again, 1.2 seconds. Sterling will have DRS at the beginning of the next lap, I would say. What is Caesar doing?
Sterling's still got some work to do, but he can just follow him and try and avoid a penalty for his sake. What was I gonna say? Tin Can actually has 12 seconds of penalties, so he's actually picked up a lot himself. So I don't know. Both of these guys in P5 and 6, they have quite their fair share of penalties. And one thing that's going to be interesting to see, Kryptonite on those ultra soft tires, he's struggling for pace, and no wonder, because they are going to start going off around about this time. I can't see him nursing those all the way to the end of the race. He could prove me wrong, but I wouldn't put my money on it. I'll just say that, as Sterling West doesn't have DRS, but he is inside that 1 second window, getting slipstream from the Williams. So the battle for the lead is about to really heat up. Sterling West closing in on Caesar up ahead.
Well, Kryptonite will have to finish this race on the ultras, because otherwise he's just gonna lose a lot of places, and regardless if he can get them back or not, he does have penalties, so it won't be the best option for him. He has to manage his tires, because the gap to Sarja, 6 seconds, Sarja's not gonna catch up to him, even if he tries to manage the tires and just go a bit slower. But the people we should focus on are Caesar and Sterling. Sterling had DRS and will have DRS again, just on the back straight. Let's see what they do into the hairpin. Sterling has been locking up a lot. Will that impact his race? Guess we'll never know.
He may impact his tire
DRS open, and that's an easy move up into first. So Sterling is now the new leader of this race. Just clips the World Champions, but we'll allow it because he is the new race leader. Caesar has been in first place for almost 30 laps. We have a change there at the top. Will Caesar...
Sterling looks... Ooh, the Red Bull driver does hit the wall, but Sterling definitely the odds-on favourite for this race now. He just has to manage himself, make sure he avoids the penalties in case Caesar comes back at him. But I can't see that happening, to be honest. Caesar, I think he'll keep up with him with 3 DRS zones, but I can't see him really threatening Sterling, just because I'd say Sterling has about a 4 or 5 tenths a lap pace advantage, and it's already showing that gap already almost 7 tenths. He's just looked really quick once the rain has gone away, and looks to me like a potential race winner here, as Caesar just struggling to keep pace at the moment, already 7 tenths back.
Well, this is a bit of a surprise. I wouldn't have thought that Caesar will lose his pace on the slicks. But then again, it's good to see that this race didn't end at the beginning. YYY though, he will get his 3rd place finish. There's nothing really to say about that. It will be interesting to see whoever will get the other positions, because with the amount of penalties that we had, and the gaps are not that big between the other drivers, I think we'll be surprised to see where people will end up in this race. We have Jabo trying to get past Bree, and I think he will. Into the first corner, just pushes Bree a bit wide. really good overtake, and Jabo is up into 12th. He, if he gets that point, I think Division 3 deserves some sort of standing ovation for having two drivers getting points in Division 2.
Yeah, it does show that these guys that are in a lower division doesn't mean they can't be competitive. But Brie is going to try and threaten the Ferrari, though. Doesn't quite get it into turn 9, but a good exit from the Sauber. He's going to chase it up to the outside, going into turn 10, the hairpin. It's a difficult move around the outside. I'm expecting to hang back and maybe go for a good exit, switch back on the exit, but Jabo's still out ahead. But Brie now, he's got plenty of DRS. He's running low on fuel though. Opens the DRS now, and Bones is Bones. Well, you mentioned. Oh, he's came together with Chapelele, I think, because the Force Indias came to a stop pretty much. As Brie makes a lovely move, another move round the outside of the final chicane, and Jabo may not have an answer. Yeah, he does actually go back. How has he managed to outdrag him? I don't know. But Jabo up until 11th now with that crash from back of Bones. So it's unfortunate for Bones because he was driving a very solid race. He did struggle in the wet, but he really got it together in the dry, and that's not great to see.
Well, I would say that was a bit of commentator curse because it needs to happen every race, it seems. I said that I was proud of us. I'm talking for all Division 3. I was proud of us getting points in Division 2 as well, and that happens. The Wall of Champions picks up another victim.
Shape must have damage because he's going so slow. Lets all the cars around him pass, except he's holding up his teammate, which is a bit strange.
does definitely have damage. Just looking at his front wing, half of his wing is almost gone.
Yeah, I think he definitely had it coming together with Bones, which is unlucky for both of them. Not sure who caused it, or if it was just a collection. One of them makes a mistake and the other guy has nowhere to go. Yeah, but Chevrolet, no surprise, goes into the pits. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to pick up any points in this race, unfortunately. But up towards the front, Sterling still in control of this race. It'd take a crash at this point to stop him from winning because he's gapped Caesar pretty comfortably. These guys, well, they're completely even on tyres, so yeah, Sterling just imperious pace in the back half of this race. Hunted down Caesar, was 6 or 7 seconds behind the Williams at one point. Once he cleared all those guys in that battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th, he really just got the pace together and has really just moved into a dominant position in this race. And he looks comfortable. He looks like a race winner at this point. I can't see Caesar doing anything, especially because the Williams has a penalty. So Sterling, I think, is free to coast to the end of this race now. He is going to have to watch for the back marker though, but I don't think Shape shouldn't cause too much issue. Sterling just has to control it, and yeah, he'll have a race win.
Yeah, Sterling will definitely win this race. There's not much that can happen. I don't think he'll pick up 6 seconds of penalties in the last lap, because that's the only thing that would give Caesar the win. It's good to see that we actually had a fight for this victory. Oh, and Shape. What was that?
Ooh.
Shape tried to unlap himself, I think.
Well, he's caused Sterling to get a penalty, which just puts a little bit of pressure on the Red Bull, but Caesar's still at arm's length. So Sterling should still be fine unless he makes a mistake. But has that given Caesar just a bit of hope? That gap's already over a second, I wouldn't expect much. As Sargent moves past the struggling Kryptonite, the Mercedes have tried to nurse those ultras to the end of the race, and it's just not worked. Those tyres have fallen off the cliff. Sargent, well, Kryptonite has went from, I believe he was on pole, and yeah, we just seen him not quite getting the strategy right and falling down the field. He should still be fine from Mackin, but it's not been the race that he would have wanted.
So did Sterling get a penalty for his incident with Shape?
Yeah, he did. He got 3 seconds, but that shouldn't affect things because Sterling only has 1 corner to go and a 9/10 advantage over Caesar. That is, well, in Formula 1 terms, that's a lifetime. He should be able to coast it to the end, doesn't have to take any risks. Caesar's not even opening his DRS. I think he knows that I think he's conceded that victory. Sterling exits the final corner. He's came from behind to win the Canadian Grand Prix ahead of Caesar. Now we look to see how the penalties affect the battles behind. YYY, I think he's secured P3 there with a solid drive through the field. Jaco has that stop and go. That doesn't affect his position. Is Tegami going to jump up? He gets through on Taycan as Sarja now, who came from the back of the grid. Despite how far back he is, does he take advantage of anything? No. Kryptonite, does he jump Sarja?
He does. Mackin.
Kryptonite.
Where will he come up? Ooh. Well, Sarja, I think we'll be happy with that. Chavo
decent drive.
gets 10th, so we have points for Division 3. And Bastos is the last one to cross the finish line into 13th. So, the incident between Sterling and Shape is pretty weird, and I think people will have to look at that. Imagine if that actually impacted the race win, since he gave him a penalty. But yeah, congratulations to our podium finishers, and especially to, I think we have to give him the Driver of the Day award right now. Sterling West is the winner of the Canadian Grand Prix here in Division 2. What a great drive.
Yeah, really well done from the American. Started from P4, battled with Mackin early on, and we just saw, I think he did just have the pace on everyone today. It took him a while to clear those guys that he was fighting with, but once he did, he just looked like he just looked like the class of the field. Considering Caesar just looked so dominant early on, and Sterling, once he was able to get into clean air, was easily able to just chase down a pretty sizable gap, and able to consolidate that with the race win. Yeah, he's got to be Driver of the Day for me. Great drive from him.
Well, Sarja has just told me that he's not happy with his results, so sorry about that. Wave Intel, or Ton Albanak, gets 21 seconds of penalties. Mark with 9 seconds, and his 2 stop goes. So yeah, a lot of penalties in this race. We'll see you all next week at where actually are we racing?
France, I think, or has it been removed? I don't know.
I think it should be France. It's the new calendar is just weird for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll find out at some point this week. It's been a good race. I'm glad that we got to see some rain finally in LOE. And yeah, thanks for staying with us.